Hi, everyone on YouTube. Nice to see you. Getting us started here. Hi, all. Nice to see you. Glad you're here. Hey, everyone. Glad you're here. Glad we could all get together today. A lot of beautiful light to share today with you and some healing. We need healing. It's time for healing. All right, so I've got everything arranged on my end for us because we're on YouTube too. So hello everyone on YouTube and hello to you all on Zoom. All right, so sorry, I'm getting myself adjusted. Hi from Holland, nice to see you. We're here in Kentucky and we are in probably one of the most important times of our human history, my friends. It's true. We're watching crumbling occur inside and out, right? So I'm sure we're going to talk about what we're going through, what you're going through. The personal, we're going to take the personal up to all these levels so we can see, oh, that it is not personal. It never was. It's always part of the collective. It's always part of what we're going forward into in galactic consciousness. It's going to always be part of the universal. But right now, that's not how it feels. It feels really personal, doesn't it? It feels really personal. A lot of triggering going on. Me especially. And finding these triggers, oh my goodness, it's easy now. We're all packed into our houses like sardines at the moment, pretty much everyone around the world. So this is really amazing at the moment that we have this common thread that we can all connect to each other through, this trouble that we're going through on this planet right now. And right now it feels really lonely and it feels really isolating, literally very physically isolating. What does that do to us as humans? We are not built to do this isolation. We are not built to do quarantine. So what does that do when you are in quarantine, when you are in isolation, when you're doing stay-at-home, social distancing, all of this in order to try to lift up the greater health of all, right? What does this do to us? It brings up every single polarity that we haven't dealt with. It brings up all the worst, weirdest triggers you can think of, right? So, you know, one little comment from a partner or a friend or your child or whatever, a boss, can be magnified right now. And of course, what's our first reaction? We want to just go hide in a closet. We want to avoid it. We'd really love to avoid all these triggers. It's true. And then they really build up. It's traumatizing right now. And so many of you are empaths out there. So when all of this is happening, it gets magnified in your experience. And our experiences, they happen, and then all that information gets run through our trauma, it gets run through our ego, and then shows us more of that trauma and that ego in us, right? And this right now is actually the opportunity. The problem is not the problem. The magnification of all of our triggers and our trauma and our drama and all of this is not the problem. That's not the problem. The problem is that we haven't been taught correctly how to manage all of this and really be able to look at what it is. That's the problem. we go into avoidance of it. We want to shut down. We want to stop looking at it. It's too overwhelming. It's a lot right now. And just to top it off, if you're sick, makes it even harder. What the problem is that the presence of Mother Divine is forcing up things that haven't been on this earth for millennia, perhaps even before humans. It's forcing up corruption. It's forcing up energy and tension and trauma from our personal, but also from our lineage and all of our soul history too. So one little trigger, if you follow that thread, you're going to find all kinds of doozies along that thread. It's not going to be just what you thought. You know, my little daughter, she's 3, right? So 3-year-olds, they'll trigger you. whether you're in quarantine or not, they'll trigger you. And for her, she's processing stuff too. She can feel it. So for her, she gets an attitude. She gets this little attitude. She's 3 going on 13 kind of thing. You know, and that'll trigger me, right? And I'll feel frustrated. I'll feel angry. Don't talk to me like that. But that's not her. That's not hers. It's mine. It's my trigger. We need to own it. We need to own this stuff, right? So first off, with a 3-year-old, you can't take stuff personally, but truly trying not to take things personally right now is really hard, if not impossible. So just notice it. The first thing you need to do right now is notice it. Notice the triggers. Find it in your body. So when my little daughter says, you know, whatever she does with her little attitude, it hits me, and then I feel the frustration here in my throat. So I'll notice it. Oh, I'm frustrated in my throat. And then I can immediately notice that and find it, follow the thread. I'm going to go into my throat and imagine sitting in my throat. What do I see? I see a bunch of buildup. I see density. I see a net of trauma that I've been holding there. And what the magic is that my 3-year-old has triggered me, and now I find the trauma, and it's there then to be dissolved. It doesn't need to build up anymore. So I can go into it and say, all right, what are these big, massive amounts of tension and trauma exactly? And you keep sitting with it and noticing it, allowing it to unfold, welcoming it. I welcome this trauma in my throat right now. I welcome this trauma in my stomach. My stomach has been absolutely going crazy. My guts are like nuts. It's really been tough, and I feel like I'm not absorbing nutrients right now because my guts are connected to the collective. And although I'm not an empath like so many of you are, I can feel that energy, and my guts are like, whoa, what happened to the foundation? What happened to the floor? How are we going to survive? How are we going to survive and thrive in harmony with the earth? And I'm finding that all the human structures around me are becoming unbearable. We're getting stuck in our apartments and our houses. It's unbearable. It's unbearable, these human structures. These are not natural. You're going to find yourself finding this tension around your space that a lot of you have to stay home right now. It's historical in this. And we're watching then also the complete crumbling of all of our global systems and national systems. And a lot of different power play, right? People trying to implement new things. And wow, we're going to see this unfold for many years. This is just the beginning. So the gut who's in charge of helping you thrive in harmony with the planet is going crazy for a lot of you. My skin, I mean, right now I'm wearing makeup, but my skin has been absolutely blowing up as if I'm a teenager again. And it's been wild. And I told my husband, I'm like, you know, every morning I wake up, it's like more breakouts. And it's all on my right side, just the right side of my face. So the right side's the relationship with the physical. And the left is the relationship with the spiritual. So notice that too. Are you having stuff going on with your right side or your left side? Go into it. If I sit in my face, who's going through trauma, if I sit there, put your consciousness there. What's the first thing you see when you put your consciousness in different parts of your body that's traumatized, right? What's the first thing you see there? Just don't even try to think about it. Just let it show up. Notice the feeling of it. Welcome it. I welcome this trauma and this anger and frustration in my face. And as I welcome it, you can breathe. Okay. And it unravels a little bit and a little more and a little more. I've been doing a lot of sessions this past month, and people are doing a lot of clearing. And one of the complaints I hear is I keep clearing, but then it keeps coming back. And that's not exactly what's happened. Right now, every time you clear something, well, it used to be last year and beyond, every time you'd clear something, especially if you'd replace it, that same energy wouldn't necessarily seem to arise again, like another layer wouldn't just automatically arise. And now it's not like that. You're not getting a break. You're not getting a break. You're going to notice these triggers and you're going to clear them and replace them. And I'll show you how in a minute. But you're going to clear them, you're going to replace them, and then the next layer of the same thing is going to come right back up. But that's what it is. It's just another layer. And much of this, most of it, 99% of it isn't even yours. It's written in your DNA right now to have that trauma around plague, around pandemic, to have trauma around famine, siege warfare, poverty. These are things that are written deep in our human history. And we are here to finally clean up this mess. And my friends, it's a big, big battlefield that is full of all this stuff. It's been broken down. It looks like energetically, and I've seen it for a long time, this road that goes through this valley of all this debris, it looks like, you know, stuff's been blown up. And I've seen humanity at the edge, and I'm not the only seer who's seen this, at the edge of consciousness, right? The edge of the cliff. And everybody's got to decide. Each of us as individuals have to decide, am I willing to be here as a soul to get this done? And we're all looking down and we see what it's going to take. And so here we are. Anyone who's in the body at the moment decided to go down this road into this valley and say, all right, let's try to pick this up. So for some of you, it's very literal. One of my friends and clients got her house just, screwed up by a tornado. Some people have lost everything. Tornadoes and floods and natural disasters are happening, earthquakes, all kinds of wild things will continue to. So for some of you, that's manifested in the 3D, the crumbling of your relationships, the job loss, wondering if you're going to be able to pay your rent or your mortgage, the continued accruement of debt at this moment, trying to run your business. Some of you have had to close doors and you don't know if you're going to open or not. This is what that looks like in the 3D. And then the continued crumbling of systems, social systems, economic systems, medical industrial systems are showing their weaknesses and also how destroyed they really are. All is becoming blindingly clear, kind of like what Lee Harris said and a lot of other seers, clear, clear, clear. blinding clarity. Use this time to also witness inside of yourself that which is crumbled, that which has been destroyed. And we can also rebuild at the same time. Don't wait. We don't need this debris field to be completely, perfectly cleaned up before we begin rebuilding. We need to be rebuilding now. How are we going to do that when we're stuck in our homes right now at the moment? How are we going to do that? First, start inside yourself, right? Notice the triggers, be honest about them. Candor is going to help us move ahead. And here's a challenge. Here's a challenge. Can you receive the true honest candor of your friends and family and your co-workers and bosses and all these people? Can you receive that candor? Can you see them not as their trauma, not as their triggers, not as their bitchy little comments, right? Can you see them beyond that? So use this technique to zoom out and look. Whenever, especially you're feeling the hit of someone's stuff, right? Bam, in your body or in your tummy, especially you empaths out there. And all that happens so fast, you can barely see it coming. But can you zoom out when that happens? You're going to want to train yourself to look above it and say, my friend or my partner or my family member is not their anger. They are not their trigger. They are a soul learning from this anger, learning from this trigger. I'm going to try to be a soul that's learning from this too. When we come together, if there's a bitchy comment from person A and person B feels hurt, right? If I feel hurt by my husband's comment or something, when we're in it, it's really hard to act soul to soul, to speak soul to soul. This is going to be a challenge, but this is us rebuilding our relationships with a foundation of candor and a foundation of saying, I'm not going to take this personally. It doesn't belong to me. Your trigger belongs to you. I won't receive this. It's not mine. I can learn from it. I can be here and we can keep communicating about this, keep working it out. But I'm not going to hold it. I'm not going to take it in me. This is hard to do. It takes practice. It takes us being conscious about it. But here we are. We get this chance to be very conscious in this state and do this work. And what we'll find is that we get to recreate our foundations from there. It's got to be started with candor. That's the new foundation of this whole new earth, is that honesty. We have to be honest to ourselves about our trauma, about our stuff, about our feelings. I don't process out loud very much, and I don't write about my processes. I have a more internal way of processing. It's more quiet. And every once in a while, I'll say, nope, can't hold this one in. I have to say it. I have to say it out loud. So what we can do if we're in that state and we're ready to say it, we need to make sure we have as little charge on it as possible, right? Now, you're just trying to get to zero with that charge, even though you might never get to zero. Get as close as you can by welcoming the frustration or the trigger or whatever. Find it in your body, welcome it. Find it again and welcome it until you're about as neutral as you can be, and then speak from there. So that is really good. It's not going to hurt your empath people around you as bad if you can make sure to do that. So be as careful as you can. Candor doesn't have to be brutal, right? So we can be honest without being brutal. We can ask for things without being harsh. We do need to teach the people around us how to talk to us, but we have to start with us and how we want to. If we want somebody to talk to us a certain way, we have to talk to them a certain way. Golden rule applies nicely here, right? The other piece of the foundation is self-care. Something I found over the past month is that I haven't based my work and what I want to offer in the world, I haven't based my creations off of initially a really good foundation of self-care. I thought I did, but using techniques to help heal yourself is not what I'm talking about. So at first I thought, well, I had all these techniques that help me heal PTSD, so I'm going to teach them and share them, things like heart commands and erasing negative programs and all that, right? And that was good. I had done those things out of desperation, but that was desperation. It was not true self-care. Truth is that I'm really a total noob at self-care. And so all of us healers out there, a lot of you are healers. A lot of you are healers. Make sure you're in a good quality state of self-care. Make sure that you're using all those tools on you first. Make sure you are processing your emotions inside yourself, working very diligently on that each day at this point in time. What this does is it clears up the field. It makes the pure light from your soul less distorted by your trauma. It also makes it easier for you to see what's really going on with other people, right? So then you're not looking through a lens of trauma at what people are saying to you. You're not going to look through a lens of ego at what's going on in the world. Those lenses distort things and they give you very little of the whole truth. And so that's what we're working on. Can I keep noticing and being aware of how I'm taking this information in through my trauma and how I'm running my stuff and my light through my trauma and ego too? It goes back and forth just like a pair of glasses, right? We got to change what we're seeing right now, my friends, and the way that we see it. And there's an ultimate goal in this ability to see with clarity, to be seen as you really are, not your trauma, not your ego. To be seen as you really are is a wonderful feeling. It's a wonderful feeling. I see you. I see you as you really are. You are not your anger, trauma, sadness, grief. You are not all of those things. Those are things you're learning about. You are a soul. You are immortal. You're here to do a lot of learning. You're here to build up your spiritual muscles. We're here to get really strong. And what's a better situation to get strong than walking through this debris field and picking up the pieces of 500,000 years of oppression, 500,000 years of trauma. There is no better task at the moment to make us stronger. But you know, that road is still real clear. It's not foggy what's beyond that road, what's beyond that valley. I can see it clear as day. The great golden gate of our new ways, our new, renewed, compassionate, unconditionally loving human race who will be emissaries of this love, of this compassion for the rest of the galaxy and beyond. That's what we're called to. And it lights it up. It lights up the whole valley. This future that we're all walking towards, it lights this up. It makes it clear what is needed to be done. It is not dark. It is not in the dark. It is not hidden anymore. It's all very clear. Just like when a big, huge building gets destroyed, right? All that dust settles, and then you see what's to be done, how much work there is. And at first it's discouraging because it's a lot of work. It's not just one person's worth of work. It's many, many billions and maybe even trillions, 500,000 years of people's stuff worth of work. And it can feel really intense and discouraging, but we're not alone. We're doing this together. We have to do it together. And so if you're willing to try to clear your sight, don't let the words and experiences get run through your trauma and your ego. As best you can, keep noticing it. Just keep noticing it. Well, I do feel triggered when my husband makes a snarky comment. Okay, why? And follow the thread. Find it. Find all the pain from your soul. Find the pain from your lineage. Find all those trash bags because they're all ready to go. If you're getting triggered, that means they're all ready to go. And the more you're going to process it, welcome it, dissolve them by welcoming, the more you do that, the more access you get to more light, and the more pure light moves through you, and the more you can receive the pure light from others. And this will be what will save us in the end. This internal work is going to give us the strength to be able to help everyone else deal with their stuff too. Because what is all that damage really? It is inside of us. That debris field doesn't exist in the 3D. It exists in each of us. Inside of us, we create this field together, and we can see each other together. We can be seen and we can see with clarity. This then allows us to become the eye of the beholder. We can behold in neutrality. We can behold one another and behold humanity each day, welcoming all the dark stuff and the light stuff, knowing it's all there only for learning. People want to know, why is this virus here? For learning. Why am I being triggered? For learning. Why am I angry and traumatized? So you could learn. So that source can learn through you. You are source. When you're angry, source is angry. When you feel hit, source is hit. When you feel traumatized and when you feel expectations being shattered and when you're terrified of losing all the things you're attached to, that's also source, learning about that. The source field is real. It's real. It's here. It's in you. It's in me. It connects us. And then that feeling of loneliness is gone because we're never alone. And just to make it more interesting, let's talk about some happy things that are going on. The presence of Mother Divine forcing corruption up to the surface has also allowed new consciousness that hasn't roamed the earth since the very beginnings. Consciousness that's ancient, consciousness that's beyond this 3D dimension. Ancient beings that through the presence of Mother Divine, their presence is welcomed as well. All different varieties of consciousness. These are the elementals, these are the dragons, these are the ancient beings that are come. They don't have an agenda. They're not here to save the day for us. Not at all. That's not their purpose. Their purpose is to be. And if you are willing and you'd like to interact with that presence, the elemental, really primal presence that's available, if you'd like that, they're there. If not, don't worry about it. They're not here to save the day. It's us who've got to save our own day. But they're here. They're here. What does that mean? What is that going to look like? I have no idea. I have no clue. But all of it's there. It's available now. All the different veils that have kept us feeling so quarantined in 3D, they're shifting. They're shifting. So what's been made available is primal. It's very primal. It gives us a chance to renew and recreate and co-create and create brand new things from a very primal, natural, energetic one that is full of course, self-love and self-care, but also unconditional love and universal compassion for everything that's going on. So you are here for a reason. You are processing on behalf of many billions of people, not just you. It is never personal. It's never personal. Your work is helping the collective. Your continued effort to take care of yourself is helping the collective. If you're sick in bed, you're processing in this illness for yourself and for all of humanity, past, present, and future. Now, the formless experiment in consciousness, the reset of the original blueprint in its most formless state is available. What does that mean in, material 3D life? That means that those things that have been built upon corruption will no longer be bearable. We're going to keep noticing it in our bodies. I don't like being up off the earth. I want to be on the earth, but I live in a house where it's up off the earth. And this makes me feel like, no, I don't want that. I want to be on the earth. That's a good example. Okay, now what am I going to do about that? Well, I'm going to uproot. I'm going to move. I'm going to go be on the earth. I'm not going to let that stop me that I live in this house and pay a mortgage. No, I'm not going to let it stop me. I want what I want. I require connection with the earth right now. Follow that. Follow that. Notice your preferences. Notice if they're attached to ego, and notice the deeper desires beyond ego that are here for your thriving on earth, right? And that's going to be an interesting difference to look at. Our preferences that are built on ego versus our desires that are built from the inside out, from the soul level. Wanting to be connected to the earth is not an egoic preference. It's a natural need. It's a soul level and body level requirement for health. So learning to listen to our bodies, many of you are much better at it out there than I am, for sure. I have very little skill at being embodied at I'm always working on that. So I'm always getting used to noticing stuff and noticing these things. And that's one of the first really intense things I noticed, is that I cannot be up off the earth anymore. I can't. It's making me crazy. My body's like, what are you doing? Why are you wearing shoes? Why are you in a car up off the planet? Why are you walking on concrete? This isn't normal. And you're going to notice this, that all the things that have been built from corruption up, from oppression up, all that's got to go. So you're going to feel it in your body. No, I can't do this anymore. I gotta get grounded every day. I got to get my hands in the soil. I got to go hug a tree every day. Do it. Do it. Self-care. Self-care. So now I want to show you how to keep addressing the triggers as best you can, right? So heart commands will help you with this. Just noticing the feeling, especially if it's immediate. Maybe my partner says something snarky, right? And bam, all you empaths, you feel it so intensely. You feel it in your heart and your gut. Feels like you've been punched, right? When somebody says something. And all my empath friends and family have been on the phone with me, and they're in trauma. So you're definitely not alone if you're feeling this. I'm not naming any specific person at all because it's pretty much everybody I'm talking to, including myself. So we're in the same boat, everybody. But if you notice it, it'll hit you, or your trigger will hit you, right? And then you need clarity, right? So normally what'll happen is you get triggered and then bam, here comes the lenses again. Oh, my trauma and my ego. And I'm looking through it and I react from there. That's normal. We've been learning about that and it doesn't work very well. It tends to create more trauma, more ego. So here's this new trick here, this beautiful tip, this chance to have a little more control over the lens automatically popping up to be available to you. You're going to want to notice that feeling in the heart, and then you're going to name, if you can, name the emotion. Dear heart, please lift all this panic, all this trauma, all this frustration and anger, all this grief, all this sickness that's ready to go out of my whole body and field now. And take a big deep breath with me. Good. And now we'll replace it with light. Dear heart, fill my whole body and field with compassion, with love, with harmony, thriving, and nature now. And take a big deep breath. Good. And so use this on a dime. Use this on a dime. Maybe my sister might call me, right, and says something that makes me feel sad, right? And automatically that's going to, and this is going on for every single thing, automatically it's going to pull up all my sadness that's ever existed and all the sadness from all of my ancestors, right? So now it's not just one experience of sadness, it's all of it. It's all of it. That's what's happening at the moment, right? And so you get overwhelmed with the sadness, and then that's all you can see, right? So use this heart command to help you out. Hold on, I need to be able to see clearly. I need to be able to function clearly, to speak clearly without it running through my sadness, right? Because then we create more sadness if we do that, or more anger. And, you know, this takes time and practice, and it's never truly perfect because, of course, we're here to do all this work, and we've got new chances to bring in new methods to do this kind of work. But nonetheless, you'll notice the sadness, and then you'll do a heart command. Do a heart command to lift it out and replace it with clarity. Replace it with love. Then try to function from there. And then make sure you set aside time or go directly afterwards into a process to go look very carefully at the sadness. Find the thread. It's like fishing. You've just fished and now you're pulling out 1,000 trash bags of sadness at this point. It used to be you'd pull out one, right? But not anymore. Now it's all of them. In the end, this is a huge blessing, even though it's a real pain in the butt at the moment. In the end, this is going to give you a chance to have access to more light than you've ever had access to, faster than ever. It's light speed now, my friends, for everybody, for everyone. No one's left behind in this. What this is also, in the end, better, faster access to enlightenment. Better, faster access to higher states of consciousness, to more love and compassion than you ever thought you could ever maintain before. More oneness than ever before. And that's why it's happening at the moment. The debris field is very clear now. And here we are, lifting our sleeves up, saying, okay, am I ready? I got to do this. I got to heal. I've got to heal. It's like this magic realization the past few months for me. And again, not personal. And I know it's the collective too, and it's the universal too. I need to heal myself. I need to base all of what I'm doing off of the deep inner healing and love I can cultivate for myself outwards. And the more we do that, basing our continued work in the world, our continued efforts outside of the self, the more we base it on the inner work we've done, the better the work will have been cultivated. So you're cultivating from the inside out this brand new world. This brand new world. And in this brand new world, I'm imagining, and this is how you manifest this kind of thing. I'm imagining a place where I'm feeling really healthy, where I'm feeling fully loving of myself, where I'm feeling less frustrated with myself, where I'm feeling like I can do this work for me, that I can feel better, that I can be healed. I'm working on imagining a version of me that feels that way. When you have that goal, you can feel what keeps you from it. So you're going to feel then, what does that feel like to have a healed version of you in front of yourself? How does that feel? And notice any blocks that might automatically come up in your mind. Well, I can't feel like that because I've got this disease, or I can't feel like that because I've been so traumatized. That's the ego hanging on to pain. And my goodness, how much identity I've created around pain is really up and clear to me at the moment. And I'm ready for that to go. I am. I'm ready to let all of that go. I'm ready to put the book of pain down. I want to finish it fully. I'm ready. So we got to imagine it, we got to feel it, and then we got to act on it, right? So brain mind, using your third eye to imagine what you're wanting. Heart mind, for yourself. Start with you first. And then heart mind, feeling that. How does that feel? To imagine it, to be it. And then gut mind's going to help you with the step-by-step action. Okay, now I got to actually eat. Okay, now I actually have to take my vitamins, or all right, now I'm going to act on these things. I'm going to learn how to process. I'm going to learn how to be in candor without being brutal. I'm going to learn how to not run my triggers through my stuff, my ego and my trauma, so that it turns into trauma for everybody else. I'm going to take a bath. I'm going to hug a tree. I'm going to go out onto the soil and sit on the earth and meditate. You know, using the tools. And the greatest tools are going to be noticing your triggers, welcoming them, processing them, meditating. Meditate however you can. I don't meditate like other people. Sitting still with my eyes shut doesn't work for me. I can do it for really long periods of time, but then I end up leaving my body a lot of times because I see so much all the time. So meditating, finding different ways to meditate. I sing, I do gazing, I do meditations astrally, I do meditations by going into the earth. I do all kinds of different kinds of meditations that work for me. And they might not work for other people. Other people, they need to be able to sit and be still. Some people need to lay down. And so find a practice, meditate, go inside yourself. Start from there. Start from there. That's where the debris field is. And that's the fourth dimension. That is the spiritual realms. And all the possibilities of our healing are in front of us. The fifth dimension, where all possibilities are laid out, all that's available, all that's there. That's where all of these consciousness, primal consciousness sort of beings that are represented are coming through, is from all those possibilities. The possibility of their being with us right now and existing is real, and now it's occurred. So that is available. You know, the great dragon of the Divine Mother roaming through the debris field. And we get this chance to say, Divine Mother, can you help us? Can you give us some advice about how to clean this up faster? She's got things to say. And in meditation, you can be able to see it, feel it, and know it. See it, feel it, and know it. You're going to be able to keep getting that information if you ask, because you're not alone. You're surrounded in your guides. Angels. All these angels are here, all different kinds. An angel appeared to me this morning as the angel of endless love, here to help with the anxiety of humanity, just being present, being available. So what's available now is not only you being able to fish out all the baggage out of your embodiment, out of your DNA, memory, etc. Not just little bits, but all of it now. That's available. And then all these other recreation, co-creation, creation energies are available. And so here we're being asked to, with blinding clarity, figure out, learn how to be creator beings, how to be responsible for our triggers, how not to take things personally, how to connect ourselves to the collective, how to clean up our inner realms so that the 3D realms can experience that percolating light. It works. It will transform your household the more inner work you're doing. And then that household, it helps transform communities. And when we all finally get out of quarantine, we gotta build our communities, my friends. We gotta get back to local. That's how we're gonna survive economically. A lot of questions about economy. The first thing you need to know is that your local community is where survival happens. It doesn't happen from the nation state. It doesn't happen from a global economic system. It happens locally. This is anthropology in a nutshell. Being able to create community is what will keep us going from here on out, helping each other in equanimity and equality. Every single person has something to give. My 3-year-old has something to offer. The elders have immense wisdom to offer. Maybe they can't physically go out and do stuff or be able to get physical work done, but they have immense wisdom about how to get things done faster. And all the failures they've experienced are just as valuable as all the successes. Everyone, especially all the vulnerable, has something to offer the community. We must base this on equanimity. The next step, if we're going to continue to make it through this economic grand global level depression, then we've got to get that going. The local community first. Start with your neighbors. When everybody's finally allowed out, start with the neighbors. Ask how you can serve your community and ask for help if you need to be served and supported. We need to be able to ask for help too, with candor, right? And then being able to reach out to one another. It has to be done locally, because that's how we live. We don't live globally. We can think globally, but physically we live locally. And that really counts. And then there's one last foundational piece that we all have got to consider. It's reverence. Reverence. To cultivate reverence for all consciousness is going to save us. It will be a huge balancer. So think about making sure about how you speak to everyone around you. Are you reverent? Because all those people are immortal souls, my friend. The memory of our irreverence or our brutality, that ripples through time and space. But if we try to cultivate reverence in our speech and reverence in our countenance, we're going to be able to heal. So alongside candor has to be reverence. So I commit to being reverent in my speech to you. I commit to being reverent to your soul. And I commit to wanting and asking for reverence for myself. No matter what age. Little babies deserve reverence. The elders deserve reverence. The enlightened teachers and the absolutely unenlightened, perhaps even ignorant folks out there, ignorance is not a bad thing. It just means they haven't had the privilege or chance to receive the tools that we have, right? But they deserve reverence. I saw a video of two ladies hitting each other and fighting over toilet paper. Those two souls, even with that whole irreverent interaction, deserve reverence. And if we can build our societies on this reverence for all life and consciousness, oh my goodness, there's new earth. That's amazing. If we can build our societies on this reverence and this beautiful, loving candor and the care of the vulnerable, we're going to get somewhere real fast. We will be able to be those emissaries of compassion, love, and consent out into the rest of the galaxy. And so another piece is following that reverence thread. We're surrounding all these beings, many beings who are, most of them are not human, right? We've got multidimensional beings. We do have 3D beings around, lots of different species, many thousands of beings. And, 1,000 different species are here. They're here. They've been here and more are coming. I'm seeing new ones all the time. I'm always surprised. I'm like, wow, you think there's more? Yeah, there's more. And they're here. Why are they so interested in us? Because this pinnacle time right now is us deciding if we are sovereign or not. Are you sovereign? Are you free? Right now, it might not feel like it. Might not feel like it. But imagine it. Imagine being a sovereign being without oppression, without demonic oppression, without energetic oppression. Right? Imagine that. Feel it. Feel freedom. And begin to act from there. Act as if you are a queen and a king, a prince and a princess. Each of you. Be that. Act from there. Act with reverence for the people. A good queen, a good king gets down into the crowd and works very hard to serve them. right? Works really hard to be reverent and show reverence. In the kingdom of the new earth, we're all co-creators. We're creating this reality together. Each of us is part of that, and each of us has a chance to affect the great grand field of the collective. And don't underestimate that. All of your inner work does count for the collective. It does make a difference. It does make a difference. It doesn't just disappear. That's an illusion. All the inner work really counts. And so if we can move from that reverence into creating action from that, we will be able to make it through this and see the other side of that golden gate that's shining down on us. It's not so far away. It is possible to get there. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of work. We're in it right now. But that's why you came. You came to really flex your muscles. You came to build up your strength. You came to learn about all of this. That's all. Nothing can hurt you. Death can't hurt your soul. You can only learn from death. You can only learn from pain. You can only learn from anger and triggers and the debris field of our consciousness. We can only learn. So here we are. We've got more healing to do. And it starts with you. It starts with you working on you, on your healing. You deserve it. And if that triggers worthlessness in you, follow the thread. Find the bags of worthlessness, welcome them, and then ask the debris to be shifted out of your field and replace them with light. That will get you where you want to go faster than anything else. And then meditate in that new state and welcome in more light as often as possible. Good. So I want to take some questions. Usually the first hour, I like to just tell you what's happening, bring it from the personal up to all these layers of reality, give you some ideas about how to cope with what's happening at the moment, getting some clarity about what is happening at the moment beyond our little households. And then we get to go in to talk about general questions that might be coming up. And then I'm going to do a special pillar of light. Let's do a special pillar of light together for our healing, for the healing of all humankind. And I'd like to put it somewhere really green. So I'm going to sit with that in the back of my mind and see what sources. But all this green healing light, all the springtime's happening here in the Northern Hemisphere, and that vivid healing green light is coming up. And some studies and different experiments have been done on green light, and it can help with pain. It can help with pain and migraines. Get yourself a pair of green glasses, call them your healing glasses, and wear them around your house. It actually helps physical pain. That particular wavelength of light is also the same frequency of the earth. It's there for nurturing and healing. And so I have this pair of green glasses, and I wear them every once in a while. My kids think it's so funny, but I wear them because it is mimicking being in nature around all this green, because around here in Kentucky, all the trees are deciduous, so there's no green in the wintertime, and it feels really dead and yucky and painful and cold. But now it's warming up, so the green healing is coming in. That's why I'm wearing green today. That light is available to you. Use it. Use all the light wavelengths to help yourself. Do some sun gazing. Do some sun gazing. Talk to the plants. There's all these beautiful plants out in the world right now wanting to help us through all this viral stuff. Licorice and olive leaf have come through as great helpers who support the end of viruses. Pau d'Arco also supports the end of viruses and infection. So a lot of different beautiful things out there. Beta glucan can really boost your immune system, and it's fairly cheap to get and accessible. And that's a polysaccharide. Thousands of studies done on beta glucan, and it's beta and then glucan, and that is a big immune booster. So that's there to help too. And that comes, those are polysaccharides from brewer's yeast. So we've got a lot of different helpers out there. All of the mycelium family, the mushrooms, they're here too. They're like, hey, we're here. We want to support you. We love you. They do. You see, the earth does want us here. The plants do want us here. The animals do want us here. But the stewardship's over. We're not stewards anymore. We are now co-creators, and we can receive as much support from nature as we give. So let that be a relationship that's permanent in your field, creating that. And again, the end of loneliness. From there, everything's conscious out there. All this consciousness is available and supportive and accessible, right? So play in that realm. It's available. Good. So I'm going to look at questions on 3 different places and be patient with me. And I'm going to try to pick as many as I can. Keep your questions general if you can, because if doing personal readings on a big platform like this is not going to work because, well, it's too personal and you never know what's going to come through. But if you need some help, there's several places to get support. Okay, so, and not just from me, I am available. Group calls, one-on-ones, those are available. I'm moving some things around this next month to make it more available to you. So I'm going to open some stuff up. And if you need help, get on my website, seerandscientist.com, and just schedule something. And don't worry about the money part. If you can't pay it all in full right now, let's do a payment plan. I'm not going to deny anyone's support at all, and I never have. And so if you need some support or whatever I can do to help you, reach out, email me, and I'll be there. Elizabeth@seerandscientist.com. And it takes me a little bit to respond to emails, so be patient with me, but I've got you. I've got your back on this one. Now, let's say that's not something you want to do at the moment. There's an online community that we have on Slack. So it's off of Facebook, and we're on Slack, and it's a paid platform, and I've been having people pay $13 a month, but I will not turn anyone away. If you need some support and you want to talk to men and women, there's both men and women equally active on there. It's wonderful. There's all these people on this platform who are so supportive, and they want to be there for you. And I want to be there for you. I'm on there every day. And so we're all supporting each other. I get support there just as much as I give. And so we're there on Slack, all these different really fun channels, laughter, meditation, healing. We do healing circles, lots of people coming together. Different healing circles throughout the week are available, run by community members. We've got to be able to do this for each other. And it's not just one person who's going to be able to do it. Each of you have something to give, and each of you need something, so we can all help each other in that network. Email me if you'd like to join. I'll add you today or tomorrow, or whenever you listen to this. Let's get together. Don't worry about the money part. If that doesn't work for you, that's okay. We do scholarships too for that one, for sure. So there's help, there's support right now. And that presence that you need, it's available. Let's take advantage of that. if we can. So I wanted to make sure you knew about that. And then on April, soon, I'm going to teach a class. I haven't put it up on my site yet. Next Saturday on April 4th, I'm going to teach a class about quantum healing for infectious disease. And so if you have an infectious disease, or if you know anyone with one, and you need support and help, and you want to not only work on healing yourself, but others, let's get you trained up. It's going to be $47 for probably a 3-hour-long class. I'm going to teach you how to do quantum healing on your body with any infectious disease, bacterial or viral. And we're going to work on that. And a lot of the methods that I'll teach you are surprising, because we're not going in there kicking a virus or bacteria out without learning from them first. So I'm going to teach you how to do that, because anything that shows up like that is always there to teach you something. Sometimes it's to teach you how to rest. I always remind people, resting is a verb. Just because you're resting doesn't mean you're not succeeding. In fact, resting is succeeding, my friends. Resting is part of success. Success in healing, success in creating a new earth for ourselves and our future. So all of that is going to happen next Saturday. And so if you aren't signed up for my emails, you can just sign up on my website at seerandscientist.com, okay? And you'll get my emails about that kind of stuff. And I do interviews every once in a while, usually every other week or so. And there I teach other stuff too for free. So interviews are a good way to get more methods to practice and play with. Now, lots of methods out there, but none of these methods are helpful unless we hone them. So your personal feedback about anything that we give a try, like heart commands or all these other things, anything I teach, if you're using them and it works for you to modify them, or something doesn't work, your personal experience around this helps, because we're all spiritual scientists here and we need measurable results. So if you email me and say, that particular method didn't work for me, this is what happened when I used it, that's so helpful to me, because it makes it easier for me to work with people in your situation who are like you, because it turns out that if you're experiencing something, probably a bunch of other people are too. If something did work for you, hey, this really worked great for me, that really is priceless. It makes sure that I know I'm on the right track to helping as many people as I can. These methods and practices are meant to be used and experimented on and modified and played with, and so that we can make them work for our healing. So I do really love that feedback. It really helps us hone this work better. And it's us doing it, not me. All of us get to do it. Okay, so on my Q&A board, I have Kathy wants to know, how do you sun gaze? That's a good question. I do recommend going online, Kathy, and go to YouTube and look up sun gazing instructions, because there's a very specific way to do it. To do sun gazing, you can only be meditating on the sun the very first hour that it's up, or the very last hour that it's going down, because then the far infrared wavelengths of light can be seen and move through your eye into your brain, literally, because your eyes are just an extension of your brain, and through your body and your skin, and it actually helps to regenerate, and it helps with depression, it helps with a lot of different things. I've even heard clients say that it helped with their bad eyesight. So when you're doing sun gazing, you're not looking directly at the sun, you're going to look near it or close to it, and you're going to gaze as eyes open directly in front of you, and trying not to blink if you can. and you're just going to let it all dissolve. So when you do proper gazing, everything dissolves. And so that light then fills up your consciousness. It's really beautiful. But you can't do it until the last hour, because if it's too high, it's going to be too bright and it could hurt your eyes. So do watch a few videos about people talking about it, Kathy, so that we don't want to burn a hole in your eyeballs, right? Good. And so we have a question. Coming out of the financial markets is a step towards being more sovereign. Question, is that a step towards being more sovereign? Coming out of the system, what are the other ways to do this with finances as we walk through? First, you need to protect your money. And so I have for many years, for over a decade, been trying to encourage people to buy gold and silver. We will have to go onto a gold and silver standard, or at least a gold standard, and silver will catch right up, in order to see our markets change. And I think from all of the people I follow, such as Jim Sinclair, I highly recommend listening to Jim Sinclair. They call him the Nostradamus of precious metals, and he has taught more clarity about the financial system and its truth globally than anyone I could find. And my teacher was the one who shared him with me, and she used to work for him. So Jim Sinclair, he's talking about jubilees, talking about resets. I do think, my friends, that a lot of our debt is going to get forgiven, because the debt bubble will get too big right now. Right now, the government's saying, we'll loan you some money. That's all going to pop. It's going to pop. Look, we're going to watch this crumble and shift for several years. It's not going to be overnight. But eventually, when we get back to that standard, and right now the Treasury is owning the debt. So the Federal Reserve is now taking its powers taken away the way it was before. This is a good thing, my friends. Very good. Very, very good thing for at least the United States. And so we will see. I don't know exactly how all that will unfold, but right now, financially, if you can buy junk silver at the moment, that might be what's left. Gold and silver, junk silver, that will protect your money, because it's not going to be tied up in other assets that are really crumbling, like the mortgage system, if your money's tied up in properties or whatever. Or if you're really not even at that point and you're living paycheck to paycheck, what are you going to do? Reaching out, making sure that you're part of the networks of resources and support around you locally. And then the last thing, get food in the ground, get seeds in the ground right now. Get that food growing, even in pots on your porch. Start growing food now in your house, even if you want to start growing baby kale, do that. The best fresh food that you're growing is going to be better for your healing than anything you're going to get from the grocery store, of course. So whatever you can do to keep nourishing yourself and keep creating abundance, the earth is here. She's ready to help support abundance. She always has. And her soil and her embodiment is there to nourish us. And we can take that beautiful support and really utilize it for our healing. And that actually will change the financial system, because it creates more self-sufficiency. So again, we've got to start imagining this inside of ourselves first, instead of looking outside of ourselves and saying constantly, how's that going to affect me? How's it going to affect me? How am I going to affect it inside me and affect it from outside of myself? We are creators of these systems, all of us. And so we've got to change this whole feeling of being oppressed and being controlled by systems that are corrupted. No more of this. We got to start inside, though. It's got to be through imagination and emotion first. And then we're going to start to see that percolate into the realms outside of ourselves that are more 3D, okay? And we'll keep an eye on this every month, every single month. April 26th is our next call. And so from a month from now, we'll reassess where we're at. We'll talk about it. And then, every month we get to talk about where we're at globally. And I'm always trying to keep an eye out for you and for myself and my family too about what's happening. Okay, so we have a question from Sherry. If we have merged with our angels and guides and we feel that connection deeply, how can we call upon them for help without losing that merging? Oh, yeah, no need to even worry about that. You can call from help or support from anything. In the end, it's all part of you, right? So I do ask angelic help, even though I've merged with the angelic realms. And it's there, that consciousness is available, and we can allow it to move through us. And we can channel that light, we can bring it through our words and through our deeds. And if we have guides outside the self wanting to support, then we can ask them to support us in certain ways, ask them to support our agenda of human sovereignty. And that's how you know if your guide's really on board with freedom, is if you ask them to help you, support you in human sovereignty, and they've got another agenda, then dismiss them. Because that's the agenda on the table at the moment, and that's the biggest main focus we have. And we need to focus in on that. So we have a beautiful question from Shalon. And Shalon says, as I focus on my equine horse Reiki, I'm doing it on a donation basis or exchange. People have a choice how to return my service. Yay, bartering. Bartering's a great option, of course. Bartering. Remember, everybody's got something to give. And if you put it out there and say, I need this, and I have these things to give, you're going to witness more connection from there. Do it locally. Do it locally. Do it in person if you can. Do it online. Do it in all different ways. Lots of ways that we can share all of this and keep feeling supported. Maybe so-and-so has a whole bunch of extra food that they grew and can and plenty, and you need some food, and maybe they need some healing work done. You can trade. We don't have to just have money anymore be the thing that we exchange with. As Shalon has pointed out, very good, wise, important, and ancient way of functioning, right? It's written in our DNA how to barter. Josie says, pillar of light suggestion. Excuse me, sorry. Lake Titlan in Guatemala. It's a very powerful lake, surrounded by many volcanoes. A major dragon point where all the elements come together. Fantastic. Sorry, my throat's clearing. Okay, let's do it. That's what we'll do our pillar, Josie. So Kathy asks, how do we merge with the angelic realm? Emotionally process any stuff that blocks you from any dimension. All dimensions are available. The human body is literally built to access them all, like a house full of 12 rooms, right? Trauma and ego block us from those rooms. Much of that trauma and ego is not yours, it's your lineages. It's their old trash built up over 500,000 years. If you emotionally process and you continue to meditate and you keep clearing, you will access those realms. And then when you get to that realm, the seventh dimension, you'll get a chance to keep going. When you get that chance to keep going, that's the merger with that dimension. That's you having got to know that room in your house really well, and then you move on. That's how you do it. Nice and straightforward. Okay, good. My apologies for my throat. Yes, always a replay available, Deborah. And all the other replays of these calls are on my YouTube under, and that's Elizabeth Wood, seer and scientist. And then the replays are under the New Earth, the replays are under Circle Community Calls. And that's a playlist on my YouTube, Deborah. And so, yes, every single thing I do has always got replays. Ali asks, can you also use ultraviolet light in your meditation to diminish viruses and bacteria? Absolutely. Absolutely. And what we're going to be looking at next Saturday around the quantum healing for infectious disease is different wavelengths of light and how they help. That's one of them. Yes, of course. And Michelle wants to know, hey, does this work on fungal infections like Candida? Yes. Yes, I forgot to mention yeast. I said bacterian viruses, but yeast too. Yes, absolutely. Yes, all infectious disease. And yeast is infectious, actually. Most people don't realize that, but any mother who's ever had a baby with thrush that they were breastfeeding knows that that yeast is mean and it will take over. And if you are, in contact with somebody who's got it, it's infectious. It wants to live. It's got spores. And so we will look at that, and we're going to talk to these things. I'm going to show you how. Oh, cool. Josie says that the timing for the class is a Jupiter-Pluto conjunction. I have to admit, I'm very ignorant about astrology and the importance of celestial bodies in alignment. I don't know much about that, but I do appreciate it. I believe the celestial spheres are all conscious and they're all involved in this. And there's a reason why all these specific planets are here around the Earth and the sun in specific. And Sherry wants to mention that she loves the Slack community. And yes, so Ruth and Deborah, we'd love to have you. Just pop me an email. I will happily get you on there right away. Steve wants to mention that malachite is the most beautiful green crystal. I have one over there on my on my dresser. You can't see it. I'm wearing gold today. But malachite, beautiful green, very healing. It says strong healing, heart chakra energy frequency. He wears his regularly over his heart and on his wrists. Find it easily on Etsy. Those green glasses are quite funny. I almost thought about wearing them, Chris. So just to show you for fun, but they're in my kitchen. And if I open my door, my children will come in. So let's see, just kind of scrolling up here on my chat. Green, green, green. Oh yeah, let's do art. Lots of art. Milena wants to put that in the art. And then tuning forks, yes, sound, of course. So 432 hertz. The three that I like to use the most, the three frequencies. And so you tuning fork folks out there, you've got this down. But there's three that I love the most. And if you Google free tone generator, there's a free tone generator where you can plug in the exact hertz you want, HTZs, and put them on headphones. You can put it in different parts of your body. Like you can put headphones on your throat, or if you have a hurt shoulder, you can put it on your shoulder. Or if you have like a tumor, I have a tumor on my chest, I put it there to help dissolve it. So the three I like to use to dissolve masses, to dissolve dense emotional energy, to dissolve tension, 888 hertz. That's the dolphin frequency. And it's not too high that it'll hurt your ears. But it's just this lovely pitch. I love it. And it's really great. It'll help dissolve stuff. That helps me a lot. And then 369. 369 is a really great neutralizer for me. And I'm not an expert on sound healing. More of you online here are. But the 369 hertz feels really good for me. It's a neutral feeling, and it's representative of the structure of the whole universe, which is the very base blueprint of reality, the golden ratio. And remember what Nikola Tesla said about 369, that if 369 can be fully understood by us, then we will understand the mind of God. How cool is that? And then I like to end on and always use 432. 432 hertz helps regeneration, it helps healing, and it's the same frequency wavelength as green, as that vivid, living, bright, healing green color. Okay. And so, oh, I'm glad. Olivia was saying that by talking about all of this, it's helping to bring up processes. And I was intending to transmit as much healing today as possible. So I got myself all hyped up on healing right beforehand. And wanting to be a healer in the world at the moment and not project any of my trauma at anybody, or run my stuff through my ego and trauma so that it's distorted. In this case, trying to radiate healing for you today, so you can just have that beaming on you, and it'll help you shift, it'll help you process more. And you can re-listen to this over again. And so then we have time frame. Martine wants to know this time frame about the Golden Gate. So Martine, I, as a seer and a psychic, I'm used to traditionally people using seers and psychics to try to understand the future. The problem is that when seers and psychics say that they see the future, they are picking one of many billions of timelines for you. And that's not okay, because there's many billions of timelines for humanity. And there's a million timelines where we don't make it to that Golden Gate. And there's a billion timelines where we do, and we succeed going through. And then a billion timelines of different varieties of all of that in between, right? If I was to say, well, I see this happening in this many years or whatever, that is me willfully choosing a timeline for humanity instead of giving you the chance to be empowered to create it. So we as healers and seers, as empaths, as all of these skill sets that we have, all of us, we cannot be choosing future timelines anymore. What that does is it creates expectations that are not realistic, because every single moment is where we create the chance for us to get through that gate. So we have to end this whole teacher-student power over, responsibility over paradigm. We need to now be in empowerment paradigm. That means me saying, oh, I see all of this stuff. I want to share it with you, but you'll never hear me talk about what I believe the future will look like. You'll hear me talk about what I see as possible, all that's possible. But can we be okay with knowing that there's a billion timelines where we don't succeed going through those gates? That's part of the job. Can we hold all of that in oneness and say that's for learning? That's for learning. If we don't make it through that gate as a human species, it's still always only for learning. And so that's important. We've got to be able to hold all of that in neutrality, all the shadow and all the light, all the density and all the formlessness. It's all part of learning. So there is no precise, exact timeline to tell you there's millions and trillions and billions of them. It's right now in this moment and now that we keep creating what we want. That's why I keep telling you, imagine it to be so, feel how it feels and act on it now and again and again. Don't worry about the future. Worrying about the future leaks your energy. It leaks your energy. It takes away your empowerment and your sovereignty. If we can keep being in the now and working from the now, we're going to get what we want, but we have to create it. We are creator beings. So all of us, we're going to create what we want. It doesn't matter what those future timelines look like or not. So that's my opinion on that. And you'll never hear me try to give any future tellings. It's damaging. It's damaging and it creates expectations that are not real. And I've seen people really suffer from things that psychics told them because they gave that psychic permission to choose a timeline for them. And that's not ethical, in my opinion. So we're here to empower each other. All of you are teachers, and all of you have a very specific, unique vantage point in this universe. All of you have something to give, and we need to empower each other to do so. And so I might be speaking to you at the moment, and it sounds like I'm in charge, but the truth is that we're all equal. We're all equal at this table here. I just happened to get a chance to speak to you today, and I really appreciate you being here to hear what I had to say and what I wanted to share. And I want to hear what you have to share just as much. Truly. You can't imagine how much I learn every day during sessions. I'm constantly amazed at how much I learn. Good. Okay, so I'm kind of scrolling up here. Milena says, it may sound strange, but I feel really unusually calm and grounded and hopeful in this time of pandemic, despite the panic and no regular income. She was just about to look for a job before all this struck, and she was caught with one toilet paper roll and less than $1 in her bank account. Yet my meditation has never felt more peaceful. I'm so proud for you, my friend. I'm proud for you that you can emanate this peace and it will affect so many people. Keep it up. Keep it up. All right, very good. And so scrolling down here, thanks for your patience. Someone mentioned when you touch malachite, don't put your fingers in your mouth. Apparently it's got compounds that aren't good for you. And so Dee also, and a couple people are reminding that 5 to 8 hertz is also healing. That's true. It's part of that solfeggio. I can never pronounce it. The tones, and 5 to 8 is one of them. That's really, really helpful. And that one's like much higher, obviously, right, than 432. I don't know exactly what 528 does. I haven't used it really. I've used the other three. So all I know is what I've personally experienced. But try it. Try 528 and see what happens for you. So we have a question. What are things that can help get us unstuck to allow a vision to be brought into the physical? I've been stuck for years in this house, in this place that feels like it's feeding on my energy. And I feel that if I don't get out now during this crisis window, my spiritual journey and my vision would be over. This is a vision that I'm meant to bring to life and serve humanity with. Yes, much of what you're going to notice is that stuckness when you're trying to envision the thing that you're wanting, which is bringing through all of this. And you're not alone, my friend. A lot of people are bringing new modalities, new channeling new transmissions and ideas through right now, and they're feeling the pull, right? And it's like now, now, now. So you're not alone. Lots and lots and lots of people, probably half the people I do sessions with have that same exact experience. So here's what you got to do. When you're imagining feeling stuck and drained of your energy, where does it feel so in your body? Take your consciousness and go sit there. Maybe it's in your heart. Go pretend like you're little bitty and sit there, sit in your heart. What's the very first thing you see? Go into that and welcome the frequency and the feeling of it. If you can name it or not, doesn't matter. Welcome the feeling that you get there. Maybe it feels empty and yucky. You're going to welcome emptiness and yuckiness in your heart. Then you're going to go a little deeper and you're going to say, now when I pull up the feeling of feeling stuck and drained, now where does it feel in my body? And you go and you do the same thing. You go and you take a look, you feel it, you welcome it fully, you take a deep breath, and then again and again and again. And what this will do is it will unwrap all the stuckness, right? Because what we do is we avoid stuckness. We say, I don't want stuckness. And then we don't actually do anything with it. This is the opposite. Every fear, every stuckness, every pain, go into it, welcome it. It will dissolve its power over you. And then you're going to ask yourself, all right, now I have this sense of more light. I feel lighter. I feel less stuck, feel a little more clear. And you're going to start from the inside out. All right, if I want to move, then you got to start packing, right? You're going to imagine moving, feel how it feels to be excited about moving. Maybe you don't have a place yet. Doesn't matter. Start letting source know you are ready and start packing, right? So you take those little actions. What's one little thing right now that I can do, to create the timeline I want? What's one little thing right now and now? You can't keep going into the future and feeling and trying to see and envision it. That's not going to get you there. That vision of it and the feeling of it is only the very first part of it. And then you come back to the moment. All right, how am I feeling now? Do I still feel stuck? Okay, I'm going to go into it again and again and again until you have all this light so that you can function from there and then act on it. Every moment, act on it. Start selling your stuff, getting rid of things, packing, right? Start doing some deep cleaning. Letting source know in the physical, I'm ready. I'm really ready to create this now. I'm ready to do this. And then simultaneously, writing down everything that you have been wanting to channel, organizing it into a package, right? Creating something that's going to be really useful, and continue to hone it. What's one little thing I can do with that now to create it and now? So it's not just going to be moving only, it's going to be moving and creating. So remember, we're cleaning up and we're rebuilding at the same time. No need to wait. Get started from there and let's see how that unfolds for you. Good, okay. So Catherine's needing a little clarity on the hertz. No, it's just this website that you can plug in, and it just Google free tone generator, and then you can pull up hertz on the generator. It's just a website, and then play it through your computer, through your headphones, or through your phone. You can look it up on either one. Okay, and so someone was mentioning my work around shifting entities, and that's right. So there is someone just posted in the chat another YouTube I did where I talk about how to manage with entities and how to deal with all of that oppression, right? And so Janet is mentioning, we need to hold that space for learning without experiencing the learning as suffering. I think eventually we can get to that. I think eventually, as you start to recognize all suffering is learning, then you begin to not experience suffering in the same intensity as before. And then you know what to do. You go straight into the suffering so that it doesn't build up a trash bag of trauma in your field, right? Oh, I'm afraid right now. You go into the fear. I'm in pain right now. I go into my pain. And you keep welcoming it, and it doesn't build up as suffering and trauma anymore. So at first, it's like, wow, why would I go into the suffering? That sounds crazy. It's actually the exact thing you got to do in order to unravel its density so it doesn't keep oppressing you and feeling like it has power over you. Good. So yes, a lot of people are saying like, I don't know if I should live where I'm at anymore. This isn't working for me. I feel, scarcity consciousness and people's stuff is affecting me. This is going to be really vivid for people. They're going to see just how really truly affected they are by the people, places, and things around them more and more and more. It's part of that blinding clarity. And that means, discerning. You need to discern. And I've got classes available to help with discernment spiritually. And I'm going to continue to teach about full body discernment with this kind of thing. So you got to think about the pros and cons of, use your brain mind, pros and cons of moving, right? Probably better, longer list of pros at the moment for you, dear Sarah. And then, then you're going to ask your heart, dear heart, is this the right thing for me to do, is to move right now? And the heart's going to expand if it says yes, and it'll contract if it says no. Then you're going to ask your gut, dear gut, is this the right moment for me to move? Should I be moving right now? And the gut's going to expand or feel excited or warm. When it says yes, it'll contract. If it says no, it'll feel neutral if it's neutral. Right? And you're going to go from there. Full body discernment using your three brains, brain, heart, and gut. Brain likes to try to be the only one in control, and we're taught that it ought to be, and that's not true. You have two other brains. Delegate. Delegate. Use your whole body to make these decisions every day, every moment. What's one thing I can do right now? Pros and cons of doing it. How does it feel in my heart? How does it feel in my gut? Okay. You get your answer. Very good. Beth is mentioning that divine light invocation has helped her immensely in the last few weeks. I am created by divine light. I am sustained by divine light. I am surrounded by divine light. Beautiful. That's a wonderful invocation. Thank you, Beth. I just love that. All right, so I'm going to pop over to YouTube and see if anybody has any questions there. Oh, yep, Linda wanted to know, is that class going to teach about parasites? Oh, good, yes. All right, so bacteria, viruses, parasites, yeast, all things that might be causing infection or disease in the body, right? We're not going to be looking at genetic stuff. We're not going to be looking at changing genes and DNA, not on Saturday. We're focusing in on infectious disease. And yes, it includes parasites. And so just checking to see if there's any other questions. Zephyr says, our dog has an autoimmune disease where he takes anti-rejection meds. His gums used to get so inflamed until the medications. What can we do for him? Look, Zephyr, I think that this quantum healing piece will help, because a lot of time autoimmune is not just genetic, it's being triggered by something, sometimes like a deep infection that's hard to find. So if you come to this class on Saturday, I think that you'll find what I'm going to teach will also help your pets, because their bodies are very similar in that case. So even fish, there's enough similarity between us and our pets that quantum healing for infectious disease can help them too. And so that will help you to start healing your dog, because you can, and you have the full capability of doing it. Now we just need the method and the training, and for you to start playing with it and practicing it as a spiritual scientist, right? Very good. Yeah, so fantastic. Not seeing any other questions there, but there's still more on our Zoom here. So I'm going to take two more here. And I'm going to say your special invocation, Beth, when we build our pillar of light, because it's longer than what she said earlier. She typed more, so I'm going to use that. Thank you, Beth. Yes, always replays of all my classes, friends. Drumming. Oh, yeah. Shalon's mentioning drumming. Drumming is very healing, especially if you can get it at the same level of the natural heartbeat. It helps to really help the body feel connected to reality and for you to feel more comfortable in your body. A lot of us don't feel comfortable in the body, me included. And then the other question from Anonymous, many on this planet are really plugged into the news and allow the media to control the narrative and their feelings. Are more people moving away from that? Yes, they are. Much hope. People, this clarity, they're like, no, I don't want to be plugged in anymore. Not everybody, but listen, the people who are plugged in, they're just trying to learn. They're learning about media controlling their feelings, right? So we bow to them. You're just trying to learn. You're learning this. It's okay, right? So it's all about learning. And yeah, but in the end, I'm seeing lots of people unplugging. They're just done. They're done. They're over it. They don't like the way it makes them feel. They don't want to keep consenting to all this shadow coming through. They want to feel free and sovereign. They're feeling the oppression more and more and more by being plugged in. I have great hope. I see a lot more people unplugging. Very good. Okay, so we have some time to build this pillar of light. We're doing it at Lake Atitlan in Guatemala. So you don't even have to know what that looks like. If you can imagine, Guatemala is actually south of Mexico. And so beautiful country, and it's near the heart of the planet. The heart chakra of the planet is, I believe it's like in Peru or Ecuador or something like that. And so it's real close to the heart of the planet where like the Amazon is. But it's north of there. So we're going to Guatemala in our mind. Just imagine it there. Let's zoom in. We're finding this lake. It's surrounded a whole bunch of volcanoes. There's dragons there, right? There's that Mother Earth energy there. We're going to build our pillar of light for healing for all of us, including you, including me. And we're going to do it for all humanity. And so let's start with our gut mind. We're going to project this image of a healed humanity. Can we imagine a healed humanity together? A healed humanity who's ready to go through those golden gates of enlightenment, equality, reverence. We're going to go there. So let's have that there in our mind and let's feel it in our gut. A humanity that is thriving in harmony with the earth. A humanity thriving in harmony with the earth. Right? So we're going to feel that in our gut. That's what we intend as our foundation. Let's come together in a big circle around this lake. Water always magnifies anything we do. So it was a great choice. Thank you, Josie. And so we're going to ask for this healing of humanity who is thriving in harmony with the earth to move through our gut now with a deep breath to create the foundation of our pillar of light. Awesome. I don't think it's any surprise to anyone. Our foundation looks like malachite. That's how it looks to me. And so anyone will see a lot of different things. And I just like to share what I see when we do this kind of thing. And you never know what you're going to see. It's always new. But it looks like this. It looks like the whole lake turned malachite is what it looks like. Really cool. Okay. Now we're coming into the heart here. And we're going to consider a humanity that is functioning from the heart, a humanity that is healed their hearts and functioning and living and speaking in reverence and equality from the heart. That's nice. So let's project that out to the center of our pillar of light here with a deep breath. My goodness. Wow, I was not expecting this. I see all these blueprints have moved from your hearts, in my heart and all of our hearts, these blueprints of exchange of energy, these blueprints of co-creation, these blueprints of co-initiation is what I hear too, co-relationship, created reverence, high heart compassion. They're blueprints for the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual recreation of the earth. It came from you. It's yours. These belong to you. They belong to humankind, and they move through you when you're willing to imagine a humanity that functions from the heart. The blueprints have come through. The roadmaps, they're from you. They were in you the whole time. Brilliant. Let's see how that unfolds. We've now put it in position in the fourth dimension with this beautiful spiritual creation that exists, and it will stay here in perpetuity until the job is done, until we fulfill what we have imagined. Wonderful. Good job. All right, so let's come into a consciousness, human consciousness. We're going to project from the third eye to cap off our pillar of light here. The highest human consciousness and ascension available, the most pure, unconditionally loving consciousness, the pure light of source and enlightenment that all humankind is able to embody and act and function from this high state. That's what we're going to imagine. Everyone's psychic abilities coming online, all the empaths and all the psychics and all the harmonizers and healers and warriors working together in harmony to continue to move forward in great equanimity and reverence for all, teaching, consent, compassion, and love to the rest of the galaxy and beyond. So if you can imagine that with me, let's project it now to the top of our pillar here with a deep breath. Wow. All right. I saw someone mention that their internet wasn't working very well, and I think a lot of people's internet's not been working well, right? But there's a different internet. Who cares about 5G? That's useless. This is 12G. I see a spinning crystal. It looks almost like a blue topaz. It's very bright blue. And it's teardrop shaped, but the pointy end is pointing down. And it's spinning counterclockwise. And it's radiating this incredible energy all over the planet like a big, huge internet. This is the spiritual internet. And of course, it's always existed, But as we were imagining this higher consciousness, this is the outcome of that. This is the outcome of that, is the spiritual internet being our main way of functioning. Everything you imagine is you tapping into that internet, because it turns out you can't really imagine anything new. Source already imagined everything. You're just tapping into what's there. When we want to receive healing, it's always been there in the internet of the spirit, the 12 dimensions. And of course, our human physical bodies are deeply capable of tapping into all of that. It's there. So here's a cool thing we could do. Let's practice with this. Let's check in with each other. We have a big, huge community. Over 100 people right now on the call, and many, many more watching on YouTube, and many hundreds more who will watch this later. All of us, if you would, tap in with me every day. Whenever it's convenient, just feel everybody. Feel all the people. Just be present with all the people. And then branch out. Feel all of the collective. Just notice them. See if you can imagine them. Imagine how they're doing. And then give the collective a big hug. Just be present, right? One of my friends said, a calming presence is so important right now. And I agree. And we can be that for each other. We don't have to have the internet or the phones to do that for all of humanity. So let's tap into this real internet. This is the psychic, energetic internet that is very real. And everyone all has the ability to connect to it. You don't have to have a perfectly functioning third eye to connect to this. Okay? Use your imagination and go from there. The imagination is the gateway of the third eye. If you use your imagination at all, you're using your third eye. So use your imagination, tap into that, see what it looks like, give it a big hug, receive the hug back. Because if hundreds of us are doing this and we're giving everybody a hug, you're going to feel hundreds of people loving on you and hugging you. Let's give that a chance. This will be our continued effort at cultivating the real internet, the 12-dimensional internet. Wonderful. All right. Now, we're going to use Beth's really beautiful special invocation to put at the center of our pillar of light to transmit this invocation as the truth out to the rest of humanity and the earth and all living things and all consciousness who'd like to receive it from this planet and beyond. All right, so come with me into our hearts and our throats, and we're going to say it out loud if you can. We're going to put it into this pillar. We're going to project it with our voices. So we say, I am created by divine light. I could hear all of you. I am sustained by divine light. I am surrounded by divine light. I am supported by divine light. I am ever growing into divine light. Beautiful. We have now programmed our pillar to say this invocation on our behalf indefinitely until we have fulfilled all of what we have seen and created today, until we fully fulfilled it. And this will continue to support us on the whole planet. Good job. Thank you. Thank you for adding this in. Thank you for being with me today. Thank you for spending time on you, on healing you, and caring about you. Let's get together. Let's connect. Let's keep supporting each other. I need it. You need it. We all need this. We're all in this beautiful journey together in equality and reverence unconditional love, universal compassion. And it's for you. It's for you. Receive it. It's good to receive. Namaste, my friends. I love you, tribe. I'm proud for you. I'm excited for us. I am every day. I'm always amazed. All of you are doing such deep, incredible work. Don't stop. It makes such a difference. Everything you're doing is huge. It counts. Every word, it counts. And I love you. I do. Good. We'll talk soon. And I've got some really special things to look forward to. Another thing besides that class that you might like to join me with is my friend Meg and I, we created an entire program for processing. And it's the most beautiful program. It's 90 pages of an interactive ebook with videos and audios and activated, full of light, pictures and writing. We're almost finished. We're almost finished creating it. And so look for that, because I'm going to be releasing it and it's going to be there for you. It's a self-guided support for you. If you want to know how to be unstuck finally and how to finish this trauma finally, it's the most complete thing I could create. And she and I worked all last year on this. So it's almost finished. And look for that soon. We're going to try to give it to you as most affordable as possible, so that you can really access what you need in the tools that we've been using to get the results we want. All of this is coming. All of this is, there's support available to you. Let's make April our month of incredible support for each other and to see each other, right? To be seen and to see with clarity that everyone is a soul. And I see you. Namaste.